Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, recently, PBC, Premier Boxing Champions, tip of the cap to them, shout out to them. They recently went on Twitter, I was on Twitter recently, just looking at boxing stuff on Twitter, and I noticed a tweet and I noticed a way it was worded. And I didn't like the way it was worded because I thought it was very disrespectful to a certain fighter. And I'm gonna tell you guys what the tweet said and who you'll find out who it was about. So, um, PBC has a segment every single couple weeks or so on the YouTube channel, and they put the videos on the Twitter as well. It's called PBC Jabs. Where they just interview like fighters from PBC and talk to them about the upcoming fights, things of that nature. Jordan Hardy, shout out to Jordan Hardy, does a good job for them. But PBC put out a video clip of Jordan Hardy interviewing Sean Porter, and it's not so much the interview itself, but it's more so the caption of the tweet that I thought was very disrespectful and very telling of how they think of a certain fighter. So here's what they said, and this is about Sean Porter and Adrian Granados, by the way. So the question they asked was, who is at the top of Showtime Sean Porter's hit list after he gets past Adrian Granados on November 4th? And that was the end of the tweet. And I thought that was really disrespectful because it was like, bro, like, what do you mean after he gets past Granados? Do you mean if he gets past Granados? Because I don't know, man. Like, PBC themselves are okay, you're the one putting on the fight. You're supposed to be selling the fights to the fans and telling them that, hey, this is a great fight, and it is a good fight. It's a good matchup. Two come forward guys, all action guys. You should be selling it that way. You shouldn't be saying after he gets past Granados, because that's not a gimme. As pretty much you look at his whole career, no fighter that's ever been in there with him, unless there's corruption or robbery on the cards, for the most part, that's always been the case with Granados. Nobody ever has it easy in there with him. So that too is really disrespectful. And then you have Jordan Hardy asking Sean Porter questions about who he'll fight next. Like, excuse my language, man, but like who gives a damn? Like, who gives a damn about who you're gonna fight next? Like, at this point, I mean, do I want to see Sean Porter there with Danny Garcias? Do I want to see a rematch with Keith Thurman? Of course, I want to see those fights with those guys. But guess what? Right now, he's fighting Adrian Granados, and that's a guy who, as far as if you look at the landscape of boxing, Granados has probably been matched tougher than any fighter in boxing. And despite being matched tougher than any fighter in boxing, he's never been stopped, never been UD'd. And that you gotta tip your cap. Like to fight the names he's fought on his resume and never be stopped, never have a unanimous decision go against him. That just shows you the quality of fighter he is. Mind you, he's doing that with. And many times he took harder fights early in his career, or he took fights where he took fights against guys who were the more politically connected fighters. So he's going in there and he already has the odds stacked against him, and he's not getting UD'd. He's not getting stopped. You put most fighters in those situations, their career is over before their 20th fight, and they're just a cannon fodder opponent. So I think this is contrary to PBC's and many people's popular beliefs. This is a very, very good matchup. It's a very good matchup, man, because, like, look, I like Sean Porter, big fan of his. He's a friend of the channel. I've interviewed him this year. I got nothing but love for Sean and Kenny Porter. They showed me so much love when I was in Vegas this year, so I can't do anything but have love for them. And, he's always shown a willingness to want to fight the best. But, objectively speaking for a second, when you look at his career, right, Sean Porter, the only guys he's ever really, went in there and, I'm talking, dominate. He dominate, dominate the way people say that he's going to dominate Granados. The only time he really ever dominated somebody, unquestionably, at the top level, was earlier this year when he fought Berto, although I don't want to call him necessarily top level because I don't look at Berto as a top level fighter anymore. But still, top level name, you give him that respect. Went in there against Berto, beat him, and faded Paulie Malignaggi. Two guys in Berto and Malignaggi whose best days were clearly behind them. This guy Granados, this is a guy that is not those guys. At least not the guys Porter fought when he fought them. Malignaggi was pretty much at that point in his career, world champ, yeah, former world champ, but still a lower level champion. He wasn't the champion. He was just one of the title holders. Um, Berto, another guy, former world champion, but hadn't done anything in years, and pretty much came off a good little win against Victor Ortiz, but still not a real threat to anyone at top level, just because of his style, stamina problems, boxing ability. It doesn't really have the best boxing ability. Fades in his fights real quickly. Really has nothing but a big punch, which is the uppercut. So he beat two guys who were older, slower, and way more limited versions of themselves, and that's who he dominated. Now I did think he beat Keith Thurman, and he had a good showing against Kell Brook, and he is a top level fighter, so let's not get that confused. But the way boxing fans and PBC is selling you this fight, it's a crock of shit. It really, really is, because you have a guy there in Granados who, fast forward, rewind 2 years back, was supposed to be just like this. Same scenario, literally same scenario. Was maybe not, the fighters weren't the same, but same scenario. Like a fighter who is in line for a title shot, can't get fights with the champion at the moment, took a stay busy fight against Granados, and the last guy that did that was Amir Imam, and you saw what happened in that fight. Now, let's not get it twisted. Sean Porter is a much more experienced, much more durable, and has accomplished much more than Amir Imam. But at that point in time, when Granados took that fight against Amir Imam was supposed to be the next kingpin of the 140-pound division, and Granados went in there, and he had some early adversity, suffered a knockdown, but from that point forward, he was on his ass, and the different fighters. But I'm saying it's the same scenario. You got a top level guy of the weight class taking Granados as a stay busy fight. Granados is taking the fight knowing that he has the odds stacked against him. Did it one time. Can he do it again? I think it's a fight where he definitely has some advantage. If you look at the tail of the tape, he's got about roughly a 4 or 5 inch reach advantage of Sean Porter. I know him personally. I know that he's a very strong fighter. I know that Sean Porter, and this is just what I've noticed about him, and I'm a fan of his, so I can say this because I watch a lot of his fights. Sean Porter, he's not used to when guys push back on the inside. He's used to him imposing himself, imposing his using his supreme conditioning, because he's a really well conditioned fighter, probably one of the best there is in boxing. But using that conditioning, using all that to his advantage, and then kind of working on the inside, and he pushes himself on you and he poses himself on you. But there's not too many guys really in his weight class or in boxing that can do the same back to him. And here you have a guy in Granados who's one of the only guys, honestly, and I'm not saying he's going to be able to do this for a prolonged period of time. I don't think it's smart for him to do it for a prolonged period of time. But for at least a couple rounds, Granados will be able to be in there with the trenches and push Sean Porter back. And how Sean Porter responds to that, I'm not so sure, because he really is not used to that. Berto wouldn't push back against him. Thurman wasn't going to push back into the trenches against him. Kell Brook kept him at a distance. Guys are not in the trenches and don't want to be in the trenches with Sean Porter, because most of them can't do that. That's not their skill set. But that's Adrian Granados' skill set. And on top of that, you got the fact that he's got a 5-inch reach advantage. I thought in the Broner fight, in spots, he showed good boxing ability. And that's what it is, man. So you have a guy with attributes, multiple attributes, to beat this guy and score an upset. And here you got dumbass boxing channels out there. Not gonna say any names, but y'all know who you are. I got dumbass boxing channels out there saying that this is a cherry pick, and then you got PBC talking about when he beats Adrian Granados. I think it's fair to favor Sean Porter. I'm favoring Sean Porter to defeat Adrian Granados. I'm not picking him because I'm gonna back my boy up. I think Granados is going to win the fight. I actually do think he's going to win the fight. I just think, it's his moment, man. I think it's his time. But even if it's not his time, it's still going to be a close fight. Sean Porter is not going to go in there and UD Adrian Granados. So let's get that perfectly clear. May he get a stoppage? Who knows? If he does get a stoppage, then his stock will go up majorly for me as a fighter, because nobody's done that with him, and he's fought killers back to back to back to back his whole career for the most part. So that's just my little 2 cents. If you guys didn't see the tweet, I'll leave a little. I'll send you guys. I'll leave a link in the description so you can see exactly what PBC said. Thought it was real disrespectful, real classless, and no disrespect to Sean Porter, but for the sake of sticking it to PBC and Al Heyman and all the boxing fans out there that are writing him off, I hope he busts Sean Porter's ass, honestly. And that's just my opinion. And I know it's going to be a good fight, no matter who wins, whether it's Sean Porter or Granados. That's the highlight of the card for me, and I think it's going to be a tremendous fight. It's probably going to be in the running for fight of the year. Just my prediction. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below about this fight. Who you think will win? What chance do you give Adrian Granados? Because a lot of people are writing him off. And do you think it's respect? Do you think it's good for the people who are promoting the fight to be talking about other fights while this fight's still going on? I mean, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Take the time to subscribe, and you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just giving being it. So until next time, take care, guys.